What's up, guys? Got the whole crew back together, clean pocket, back in action, talking football today. We're gonna dive into some teams in the NFC, talk about ball.
They won't surprise anybody next year. That might hurt them a little bit.
He's a top 5 running back in the league. You don't let him out of your building, and now you let him out.
They're gonna be painting their nails.
Probably that. NFC North. This is a pretty good division too. Young quarterbacks got to play well, but this is a competitive division, right? Let's start with the Chicago Bears.
Might be the most improved division, most be top to bottom, the best division in football. Top to bottom.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
Top to bottom. I'm just telling you right now, let's go over the teams.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Oh, you like them better than the NFC West?
I'm telling you, just go over the teams. Relax. Go ahead.
NFC North could be top to bottom, best division in the
They're
NFC.
They're 1B in the NFC West. Let's get to them.
The improvements this division has made over the last 3 or 4 years has been significant now, you got to admit.
Yeah, totally.
What Detroit's done and Green Bay's done.
Yep.
Minnesota, and now the Bears. Whew.
It's competitive for sure. Let's talk about Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, top storyline in the draft, right? I don't know that I can remember a quarterback as the first pick taken in the draft who's ever gone into a better situation than what he's walking to in Chicago, right? Weapons all around him, a defensive head coach whose defense is really starting to play well. They kept him in games last year, right? How's the Bears offense gonna look with Caleb Williams?
I love what they did. I mean, the moves that they've made has been to surround him with as much talent as humanly possible. They go out and get Keenan Allen. They draft Rome in the first round. They got a great back. They improved their offensive line immensely with two linemen drafted in the first and second, I think, last year. And then this year, they make a great trade for Ryan Bates, who I thought Buffalo was going to keep as their center. Great move. And defensively, like you said, with Eberflus, has done a phenomenal job, and they started to come around. They just needed to get their offense up to speed, and they've put all their chips in one guy with the first overall pick. It hinges on him. We will see. I mean, he's got a lot of hype around him.
Brought in a new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. Like, Shane was with us in Washington. I mean, yeah, it's weapons galore. Weapons everywhere.
Shane Waldron? Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, he was at Seattle last year, did some good things. I saw a couple of your shows where you were like, wow, this offense is awesome. They were like 15th in the league. But, this is going to be important for Shane. It's very difficult to get caught up in the weapons and the Caleb Williams and the arm talent and all that stuff. But still, we got to have we got to reel him in a little bit. I don't want him to go back and run around like a chick with his head cut off and take 5 sacks and throw 5 40-yard completions. I mean, we have to have some kind of stability, some kind of, let's have some poise.
That's right.
Let's not go crazy.
Know our
My
identity.
issue is with the Bears, and all the moves they made have been positive. I don't like the back move. I like DeAndre Swift. I'm not a huge fan of him. Between the tackles, outside zone, maybe a screen pass out there. I think Herbert's got to come in and play. They got to get a little bit bigger back there to take some pressure off Caleb. I wish they would have done a better job addressing the running back. Other than that, can't argue with the skill that they have. Colt, Gerald Everett, they got. So it's going to be exciting, but how can we reel in some of the negative plays that Caleb took? Very similar to I mentioned Geno Smith. Geno Smith, he has a lot of wild plays, and then the negative plays are holding you back. So I can't wait to watch these guys play. I mean, these rookie quarterbacks, there's a lot on their plate, and it's very different from what they can do in college. He's got all the arm talent in the world. He's got the accuracy. He's got the toughness, I believe. He's got the athletic ability.
And he's got the guys around him.
Now, he's got the guys around him. But going out there on an NFL Sunday for the first time when those planes fly over and you take your first snap, it's different.
Yeah.
They started this rebuild 2 years ago. The DJ Moore trade, then Montez Sweat midway through the year getting a premier pass rusher. Poles has a lot of assets, and he's been putting them to work. We got a good foundation, a good base. But like you said, rookie quarterback, first overall, is going to go through growing pains. They're not going to compete in the best conference in football this year.
They're going to be good, though.
My one fear with Caleb is when you think of the quintessential Bears fan, you got Chris Farley choking on a bratwurst. Caleb Williams comes in, he had the nail paint thing, he wears the purses. Is that LA vibe going to mesh? Like we talked about Russell in Pittsburgh. Is that LA vibe going to mesh in Chicago?
Not if he struggles early.
Yeah.
However, if he comes out and scrambles around and throws one off his back foot 65 yards to DJ Moore in the first play of the game,
They're going to be painting their nails.
I promise you that.
So we're going to see a lot of Chicagoans with painted nails this year. All
But
right,
Chicago, you got to realize they were number 1 in the league in stop and run last year. They got a hell of a corner they re-signed.
Yeah.
They got Montez Sweat who can get after the quarterback. So defensively, Matt Eberflus, I think, is one of the best coordinators in the league as far as being sound in what he does, making sure everybody's in the right place, not giving up big plays, sure tackling, pursuing to the football. Very good, very sound defense. Now, what you don't want to do if you're Caleb Williams is put your defense in harm's way.
Yeah.
Turnovers. Now they get the ball at the plus 20. Now it's short field. You can't do that. Caleb just got to realize this isn't USC. Chicago will get some stops.
That's right.
USC won't. So
Yes.
you might take more chances at USC than you have to at Chicago.
Yeah. All right. Romo Odunze going into a great situation in the receivers room, right? Good guys to learn from, some guys that like he can pick up bits and pieces on to help his game, but kind of a crowded room. DJ Moore played great last year, right?
did.
Keenan Allen, we know who he is. Romo Odunze, 750 receiving yards, higher or lower?
Lower. Jackson Smith and Jigba, it happened to him last year with a crowded room. Quentin Johnson and the Chargers happened with him out there. Same thing's going to happen. His day will come. Be able to learn from a guy like Keenan Allen, one of the most consistent wide receivers in the NFL. It'll come, but just not this year.
Yeah, it's going to be hard because you look at Seattle last year with Shane Waldron. They had Tyler Lockett. His numbers were down a little bit. Metcalf has always been, hasn't been there. Even Jigba didn't really put up the numbers we expected. So I think it'll be similar with these three guys. I think they'll have high hopes and are very talented, but the ball will be spread around. That's just the way it is.
Moving on, Minnesota Vikings. Love Kevin O'Connell.
Another one.
I do. One of my favorites, right? Love his personality, love his leadership, love his offense. Went out and they took J.J. McCarthy with the 10th pick, right? Again, you want to talk about quarterbacks going into situations. Like, he's throwing to Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. You want to talk about dudes to throw to. Yeah, you got to learn the system. Yeah, you got to figure out protections. Yeah, there's a lot on your plate, but, like, you're not out there throwing to nobody, right? And that's going to be huge for him. Do you see is this J.J. McCarthy's sort of team? Is this Sam Darnold's team? What do we see from the Vikings?
I think it's Sam Darnold's to start. I think we're patient with JJ. I think we kind of wait our turn a little bit. Now, will we see him at some point? Maybe if we start to struggle, and then we start to give him the bones. But it's like, until then, I think we let him learn a little bit. We keep a patient approach. There is so much talent at the skill position. Aaron Jones is a monster pickup. He's a top 5 running back in the league. You don't let him out of your building, and now you let him out to a division rival. Like, that was a real interesting move in my opinion. But so he goes there. Awesome move. Justin Jefferson, maybe the best receiver in football. Hawkinson's a dog.
I think he is, by the way. That's my vote.
And he's an absolute stud. And then the concern I have with them, their tackles are great. I don't love their interior offensive line. They got Garrett Bradbury that they spent a first rounder on a couple years ago. He's been average at best, and they've let some guys go at guard. They got to shore up the interior of their offensive line, but I love their left tackle. Darisal's an absolute monster. Defensively, I think they got some questions too. They let Daniil Hunter out of the building. They basically did a swap with Houston. I mean, they got some question marks on defense, but I think you're patient. You see where it goes early, and then you go to JJ at some point.
They finished 3rd in the division. TJ Hockenson's coming off a pretty severe injury as well. How healthy is he going to be? I could throw the ball up to Justin Jefferson, and he's going to make plays. The guy is incredible. All right?
I thought I heard you say that you could throw the ball up to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, I could have played in NFL Europe. It can't be that hard. It's only 14 games. I mean, shit. I just think they're gonna struggle a bit. There's gonna be some growing pains. I agree with you. They shouldn't throw J.J. McCarthy into that situation. Let things kind of unfold. Hand the ball to Aaron Jones over and over again, and work through this year. They're not going to compete in the division. It's the best division in football. So I just don't see them competing in the division.
Maybe not the best, but most improved. I'm with Jay on this one. Like, every team across the board is like getting better and better and better.
Yeah, I think defensively is where they're going to be pretty good, I think. They got corners. They got good linebackers that can run. They added my guy Van Ginkel from Miami, right?
They drafted
Van Ginkel.
Dallas Turner.
Greenard. So what Brian Flores is, he's a multiple defensive guy. You know what I mean? He likes to bring pressure, and the guys have to be multiple in what they do, and that's who he brought in. A lot of guys that can rush, a lot of guys that can drop, a lot of guys that can match people. He's going to be a problem for a lot of these. He's going to be a problem for Caleb Williams. And
Yes.
so some of these young quarterbacks, he's going to do a lot of different things, confusion and pressure. That's what he does. Then offensively, you know, I think JJ is good enough and ready to be able to manage what they do. Really, you know, we know the offense pretty well. I've coached a rookie in Andy Dalton at Cincinnati, and Kevin O'Connell, Wes Phelps, they'll put them in good situations. They're not going to have them drop back and throw it 45 times. They'll use Aaron Jones, like you mentioned. A lot of quick game, a lot of boots, a lot of max play action fakes where it's just a 3-level throw read. Hopefully you don't get down by 2 touchdowns and become one-dimensional. That's when I'd probably get him out of the game, and that's where he'll struggle. But if Brian Flores can play great defense, we can maintain possession of the football, keep games close, and I think JJ will be fine. And if not, I'd love to see what Sam Darnold can do, to be honest.
Justin Jefferson, higher, lower, 1,375 receiving yards.
He's going to go
He's
lower.
1A.
Because who's going to throw it to him right now?
He's 2.
He's 1B in his.
He's 2.
Oh, he's actually just. Oh, wow.
Devontae.
He's 2.
No.
Tyreek.
You know how fast that guy is?
Yeah, I do.
They're all good. They're all great.
Yeah.
I'd take either one of them. I'm going to go lower. Young quarterback, it's going to be harder. They're going to have to change their system a little bit, become more run-oriented. Last year now, they were 29th rushing the football. That's got to change.
Yeah.
They had Kirk Cousins. Obviously, he's more equipped to throw the ball down the field more often than JJ will be. So I've coached rookie quarterbacks. Like I said, you got to be more conservative. That's just the way it is, and that's going to impact Justin Jefferson's numbers.
I'll go lower as well.
He's never covered, though. Throw it up to him.
I agree, but I also think they were best on offense with
You can
Kirk
throw it to him,
Cousins
he said.
when they ran the ball. When they run the ball, they're better on offense, period.
It's not
Yeah.
easy to do for a young quarterback. Just when you see a defensive back draped on a guy, hey, just throw it up.
Yeah.
Then you throw a pick, and all of a sudden people are booing you. And then you go in a tank, and
Great environment there
Tough.
in Minnesota.
tough.
The Skull Clap. It's my favorite away stadium.
Great stadium.
Great stadium, great environment.
Top 3, for sure.
Yeah.
Can Jordan Love take the leap to be a top 5 NFC quarterback?
Yes.
He's already done it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was the most improved football player last year. I think from week 1 till the end, and then the playoff game, he really shined. I mean, he was incredible. They got a guy at left tackle I know a little bit about. I trained him this offseason, first-round pick, Jordan Morgan. That shores up. David Bakhtiari was the question mark. Boom, you got your guy now. That's your stalwart left tackle now for the next 10 years, right? And so Jordan Love does not have to worry about his blind side. He can just get the ball down the field like he did. I mean, dropping back, cover 0, throwing it 40 yards down the field, dropping it in a bucket. Let's go.
Josh Jacobs, that's a big addition.
Yeah, we lost Aaron Jones. I don't know why he let him out of the building. I do. We got Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is
I agree.
a monster. He's one of my favorite backs. I mean, this guy can do it all. Between the tackles, outside zone, he's physical, he's tough, he's dependable, right? He can catch. I love Aaron Jones too, but this is a great ad. This team is exciting, man. They are young. This receiving core, Jayden Reed is going to emerge. Take his hires on everything, everybody, and draft him soon. He's from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, this guy's emerged as a hell of a player.
Yeah.
2 good young tight ends in Musgraves and Kraft. And I just, one of the worst grading jobs I've ever done on a quarterback is Jordan Love. I didn't like him at Utah State. I thought he threw into coverage a lot, and his fundamentals were awful. The Green Bay Packers saw something in him. They saw his natural arm talent, which he had. I didn't get a chance to work him out, in fairness to me. I didn't get a chance to meet him. But they saw something in him. He got to sit behind Aaron Rodgers and watch Aaron Rodgers for a year. And he has really, as far as quarterbacks are concerned, hit a progression rate faster than anybody I've seen in a long time, from sitting out to where he is now. The throws he made against Dallas in the playoff game are sick. This is a young quarterback that's playing with a lot of confidence. He can throw from different arm angles. Now they got Josh Jacobs. The receivers are coming up. 2 good tight ends. Defense will be better. They made a change at coordinator. So I'm excited for this. This team can't compete for the Super Bowl, by the way.
Can or can't?
Can. 100%.
I think they're still
For
a little
Super
bit.
Bowl appearance.
I think they're still a little bit too young.
So that means they have
for
kids,
Super Bowl. Yeah, I agree with you there. I disagree with you on the Super Bowl appearance.
Can they beat Detroit? That's the question.
Yeah, they can. I don't think. I love Detroit too. That's why I love this conference.
Yeah. Well, what I'm most concerned about, obviously, you have Jordan Morgan. He is going to struggle at left tackle in that division. I mean, don't get me wrong. He could be there for the next 10 years. You lose a veteran presence like Dave Bakhtiari. I know he was dealing with some injuries. You lose Runyon in free agency. They've always been able to plug and play these homegrown offensive linemen, so I'm confident they'll be able to find some guys. But that is a big question mark. Who are they going to play up front to protect Jordan Love and get him out to all these weapons and open up the holes for Josh Jacobs?
Well, that's what they're about. I mean, Matt LaFleur's the Kyle Shanahan type thing. So they're the outside zones. They're the run-first type team, which opens up for the bootlegs. And then that's where you get your tight end leaking across the formation, the cool little leak plays and a little bluff down the sidelines. That's where they open up. And that's where they're going to have to run the ball. And I'm not saying Jordan Love can go into a game and throw the ball 55 times and score 50 points. But with the ability to run the ball with Josh Jacobs, that combination of the play action that Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, all those guys do a great job of, that's what makes them very dangerous on first and second down.
They won't be sneaking up on anyone last year, too. We played them late in the season, the Giants, and we beat them last year on primetime football with Tommy DeVito at quarterback.
It's a great win, man. Congratulations.
Great win. We didn't make the playoffs. They kind of snuck into the playoffs.
I didn't watch that.
No one was really expecting it. Now all of a sudden you come in this year, the pressure is going to be a little bit different this year. The division is very good.
Did you wear the concussion thing on your helmet?
Yes.
You did?
That's why I'm able to talk like I'm talking right now. They won't surprise anybody next year. I think that might hurt them a little bit.
New D coordinator, right? From college.
Boston College, right? They have. When I watch the Packers, they got a bunch of good young players.
Yeah.
Right. All those guys made plays last year. They're going to be another year in the system. Like I'm with Jay. I think they're super talented.
When young players are asked to do a lot of things their rookie year, and then all of a sudden they get into year two, now the OTAs are they're faster, they're more confident, they know what they're doing, and all of a sudden the ball's coming out quicker, and there's no indecision, there's no hesitation. These guys are rolling, and I think this receiving core is very underrated.
Yep, that's fair. All right, Jordan Love, higher or lower, 3,900 pass yards, 29.5 touchdowns.
I'll go higher on the yards, lower on the touchdowns. I think Josh Jacobs is going to they're going to hammer him in the red zone. So I'm going to go lower on that.
I'm going to go lower on both. Josh Jacobs, the offense will run through him and be some quick balls, getting the ball out. I'm nervous about the offensive line.
I'm going to probably say lower,
lower pass yards?
Yeah, lower pass yards because of their ability to do both. They're a very balanced football team, and balanced football teams, if their defense plays good enough and they can stay balanced through the course of the game, I'm hoping Jordan Love throws the ball between 22 to 27 times a game, which will keep it lower.
The Detroit Lions.
Love this team.
Right? I mean, Ben Johnson staying is probably the best storyline here. Like, I got to watch a lot of their offense last year, love what they're doing. They got players everywhere, right? Running backs are great. Offensive line is great. Jared Goff is playing at a pretty high level. Good receivers. I mean, what are your thoughts on Jared Goff being the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL?
It's
You know
interesting.
how I feel about it.
I know.
It's definitely an interesting, I mean, from where he was a couple years ago, it's obviously a great story.
For sure.
It eats up a lot of space in the cap.
He's one of the most efficient guys across the league week to week when you watch him play.
He played phenomenal last year. Like, hands down. You cannot argue that. So if you're basing it off that, great. The year before, it was like a little inconsistent, but last year, he was phenomenal. His offensive line was great. They lose Jonah Jackson.
Yeah.
Big loss, and they replace him with Graham Glasgow, which that's a step down in my opinion.
It is.
Sewell, maybe the best right tackle in football. You just got to rely on the run game, and Ben Johnson is the key to this. I mean, schematically, we've talked about this over and over again. He's phenomenal. He does a great job getting great schemes in the run game, great play actions, hammers the pass game when he needs to. But, you know, defensively, I love this group. I love what they've done. This is a really good football team. In my opinion, it comes down to them and San Fran again to go to the Super Bowl. I think they're the two best teams in the NFC.
Last year, X Factor to me, when you watched him, one guy showed up literally every week. Sam Laporta.
As a rookie, tight end U. He was unbelievable last year. He came onto the scene. He added that element they needed. The one thing that always bothers me from a fantasy perspective, who is your starting running back? You take Gibbs. Everyone thought he was going to be this dynamic playmaker, and he is. But every time they got down to the goal line, it was David Montgomery time over and over again. Do you unleash Gibbs and kind of have Montgomery as that backup role? Or is it going to keep pissing off fantasy owners?
I think you keep it the same. I think Gibbs, keeping him fresh, get some carries on first, second down. He's your third down guy that Jay always talks about. You can throw him a screen and good luck. It's a punt return.
So which one are you drafting in fantasy right now?
You're taking Gibbs. You're taking Gibbs earlier than you are Montgomery, especially if it's a PPR league, because he's going to get 5 or 6 catches a game. And this is a great combination of running backs. You got David Montgomery, who's got great vision, first, second down. Maybe he gets a little nicked up, a little tired. Here comes Jahmyr Gibbs, a 1-2 punch is nasty. And Gibbs is not just a third down guy now. He's first, second down guy too. I think in pro football, you got to have 2 good backs and alternating them and keeping them fresh. It's very important. 17 games. I think they'll probably have another one. Craig Reynolds played last year.
Yeah.
Remember Craig?
Yeah,
I found him out of Kutztown College on YouTube.
You know where he played?
Tell me
You
about
know where he played
that.
high school?
No.
Against me. His brother, Eric Reynolds, is the best running back I've ever seen. Had some legal troubles, never made it, went to Boston College, then Temple. Craig's an unbelievable running back as well.
Craig Reynolds has an amazing story, and he's an awesome guy. Tell me how you found him again?
YouTube. So I didn't have time to study all the Division III type players, so I would Google the first team All-American guys, and I would just
Of Division III?
put them. I saw Craig Reynolds, Kutztown, so I
Kutztown.
whatever.
My brother went there, played ice hockey there. It's a
so
little respect
YouTube,
on the Bears.
And on YouTube, it's amazing because there's so many highlight films. Anybody you want, there's a highlight film.
Right.
And I tried to start like some of my scouting process by their highlight films. You know, how exciting are their highlight films? Let me see their best plays, you know, then you watch the games. And he's pretty good at Kutztown.
You would have loved his brother, too. His brother was a hell of a player.
And we got him in there. He's a great player. And I got let go, and everybody knew I loved him, and so they got rid of him after I left as punishment. Great.
Well, he found a home in Detroit.
Thanks, man. He did find a home in Detroit. He's a great player. So that's the third guy. I mean, in fact, last year in a key game down the stretch, they had 4th and goal at the 3. They run duo right up the middle, and it was Craig Reynolds.
Yeah.
You know, so they will use him. I think the one thing that has to change a little bit, Dan Campbell's got to just adjust just a little bit. Some of these 4th down things, these go for it, not taking points, he's got to readdress this a little bit. You know, he's got to be a little bit smarter.
Probably learned that in the NFC Championship game.
It's too far.
Yeah.
Right. These analytic people. Football's not a game about numbers now. Football's a game about people. It's a game about momentum. It's a game about I just don't agree with it. Now he won a few games because he did that, so you can't knock him. And I think he's a great head coach. I think the players love playing for him. But that's one issue that I think moving forward, if they want to make the next step, they're so close last year to not take a field goal when they had a chance to go up by 2 scores or 3 scores was just unfathomable. But they have all the pieces. I love the physicality of the offensive line. You mentioned Laporta. Amon-Ra St. Brown can do it all. He can line up in the slot. He can line up outside. He can run the option routes, the lookie routes that we used to run. He's Jared Goff's best friend. When it comes to Jared Goff, there's something to be said about consistency and not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
And not putting your defense in harm's way.
Yeah.
Because defensively, I don't think they're good enough yet to be constantly on short fields. So they're going to have to punt when they have to punt. But offensively, physical-wise, defensively, I agree with you, but I do think the Packers will give them a run for the money. And if Caleb Williams is the Caleb Williams we think we can, I think defensively the Bears can maybe keep them close, and the weapons the Bears have, I think they'll be up there. And then you got Minnesota. I think it's a great division. I really do. I think it's an exciting division.
One guy we've also haven't talked about, Jameson Williams. He was suspended last year, came back, can absolutely fly, gives him that deep threat. Khalif Raymond, dynamic punt returner.
Yeah.
Detroit's got a lot of talent out there. Got a lot of money invested in Goff now. So after this year, you have to make some decisions elsewhere. We'll see who can stick around.
Go ahead.
They got the best center in football.
Right.
Hands down.
Tough. I thought we mentioned Baltimore. We're close, right?
1A, 1B.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then defense, we got to get them going defensively. They had a great draft with Campbell, the linebacker, and Banks. So those guys got another year under their belt. They're going to be better. Hutchinson will be better.
Yeah.
They added some more pieces. They got to play better on defense. Aaron Glenn, I think, will do a good job with them. But if they have a Achilles heel, it's some of the questionable 4th down decisions and defensively.
Yeah.
Offensively, I'm not too worried about it. You mentioned Ben Johnson. They're going to be just fine.
Maybe not the most dominant division in football, but definitely the most exciting.